happening. So, as we always start our meeting with the invocation, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Gardner in the well.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, guests and commissioners. It's truly my privilege to introduce our minister this evening is going to deliver the invocation. I try not to tell people's age, but I'm gonna have to, Reverend Dice.
You go ahead. I'm proud of it.
Absolutely. He moved to Kingsport some years ago, 55 years ago. He was the associate pastor at Christ Church, located in the Lynn Garden area of Kingsport. And just this month, he celebrated 50 years as the senior pastor at Christ Church in Lynn Garden. And you've heard me say it many times, the true definition of success is how many people are better off because of you. And this young man has led a lot of people in various ways, and it's truly my privilege to introduce Reverend Richard Dice as he delivers our invocation. Mayor, I yield back to you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Reverend Dice, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Shall we pray? Our gracious Heavenly Father, it is with humility and honor that I stand before this distinguished Board of Commissioners and Mayor. Thank you for the invitation to come to this county seat of government, and to thank you for their service. Some will be leaving their term, and this is the last time they will meet in this session. We thank you for their service, for their time devoted to being a servant for this land. Others will be coming on as new commissioners. We thank you for their willingness to serve. We pray your richest blessings upon this board, upon these men and women who have committed themselves to being available to help make Sullivan County the best place that it can be. We pray your richest blessings upon our county, upon our state, upon the cities that are in this county. Bluntful. We pray that you will give our hearts a touch that will shape us and mold us and help us to be godly leaders. Righteousness exalts a nation, and that's what we ask for. Through Christ Jesus, your holy Son, our Lord and our Savior, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend Dice. Good to have you. Officer Whistle, will you lead us in the pledge?
Face the flag, salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Madam Clerk, it appears the commissioners are in their places. Commissioners, when the board opens, roll call. Record your attendance, please. Has everyone recorded their attendance? Thank you. Everybody checked in. Madam Clerk, take the roll.
24 present.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda tonight is special residence recognition and guest speakers proclamations. First up, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Gary Stidham.
Mr. Chairman, if we would, we could go on and move that back. We're waiting on something to get here.
We'll be happy to do that, Commissioner Stidham. Thank you. Next up, I'm going to go outside the agenda a little bit and recognize Commissioner Morrell. Commissioner Morrell, you have some guests here tonight that deserve your recognition and the recognition of the commission. Now, before I do that, though, let me recognize Commissioner Dwight King. Commissioner King is asked to address the commission tonight, and Dwight, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Monday night, if you all don't know, my wife had a stroke. She had a bleed in the brain, and there is a clot, and they're trying to dissolve the clot at this moment. And she has improved. She is able to sit up in a recliner by herself now. Before I left, I can dip vanilla pudding out and hand her the spoon, and with her left hand she can feed herself. She can take a cup with a straw and also drink out of it. But we don't know till that clot is dissolved what's going to happen, how much damage she's got, anything about it, but her whole right side, her leg, her hand, her arm, and she cannot speak. She understands, but she just cannot. She can't get anything out. I can talk to her and she'll nod her head or grin at me or something, and I've got her doing this. If something's good, she'll do the thumbs up. So she's come a long way from Tuesday. Tuesday she was pretty serious, but I think she's her mind and her focus is a whole lot better, and but she's we've probably got a long way, or who knows, she may walk out of it. We don't know. It's just time is going to tell what the outcome's going to be. The doctor and the nurses are very hopeful that she'll recover, but you never know with this stuff. So, and all this happened very quickly. Monday night, come home, she called me, I'm gonna bring you something to eat. She brought me a Pal burger. I sat there and ate it with her. I was going to the Farm Bureau meeting, got up, changed clothes, left, and before I left, she said, my head's killing me. She said, my head's a-hurting. And she said, I'm going in here and lay down a minute and see if everything will, kind of ease off. And I went on to the Farm Bureau meeting, and as soon as I got there, the sheriff's department called and said, we don't know for sure, but we think somebody at your house, a female, is trying to get a hold of you. And at that time, she had called 911, but she couldn't tell them who it was or anything about it. But they went ahead and sent a rescue squad on. And the time I got there, they'd gone into the house, got her out, put her in the rescue squad, and I followed them to Johnson City, to the medical center, Ballard, and all that happened in probably an hour and 15 or 20 minutes. And that ambulance sitting there, rescue squad vehicle sitting there, I said to myself, I helped get that here, and also all the monitors and everything inside, and it makes you think about what we do here, what, you know, this equipment that we buy and stuff, until it's in your backyard and somebody in your family's inside, it really don't hit home, but it's hit home. So, I had all kinds of phone calls from you, some of you all, text messages, and I really appreciate that. She's got a lot of friends, and we've had a lot of people calling, family and church people and our ag center people. You know, what can I do? What do you want? You know, just tell me, and we'll go do it. But just keep us in your prayers. That's number one, and then time is going to be number two. So, you know, it's hopefully she'll recover and everything will be fine. But you know, you never know with this stuff. So that's where I'm at. I wanted to tell y'all basically everything I know, and I've got 4 nurses with her tonight. 4 nurses that works with her, and her sister's on the floor below her. She's working, and she works at the hospital, but she's on the floor below her. And my niece is a doctor's assistant, physician's assistant, and she comes in and she does her thing every afternoon so far. So I've got a lot of help, but I appreciate everything, all the calls, and I even got somebody's going to cook supper for me every night. I just got to go to down. What is it? Summersville. I just got to go down there to eat. So anyway, I've got a free meal every night. She done promised me that. So, but I mean that's what's going on. You know, people, can I help you? Can I do this or whatever? But I really appreciate what this body has done for me and all this people that's reached out to me. So thank y'all.
Dwight, thank you for bringing this up today. I know everyone was wanted to know, and we've tried to respect your privacy as much as we can. But if you all will, let's join me in just a moment of silent prayer for Pam. So if you will. Amen. Okay, well, we certainly wish you and Pam the best, Dwight. Next on our agenda, I have recognized Commissioner Morrell, and I had meant to recognize Dwight earlier. Commissioner Morrell, you're recognized to recognize some special people.
Yes, sir. Thanks again for that report, Dwight. Our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family. It is my pleasure and an honor to introduce Sullivan East High varsity baseball team, their families and coaches. And at this time, I would ask head coach Mike Brenninger if he would come forward and introduce. He'll be introducing these players, and these players I think are going to be over here on this side of the room. And turn this over to you, Coach Brenninger.
First of all, I want to thank Mayor and County Commissioners for the opportunity to be here to recognize this wonderful group of young men. I was told to stand up here and share our season and to tell you a little bit about this group, and that's no problem because I've been bragging on them for a while. We started working hard last fall, and this group became very special pretty quick because of their work ethic. I'll read off the successes. They were District 1 champions Region 1 runner-up, sub-state champions, and went to state tournament for the second time in school history. But you know, it's not those successes that I'm most proud of. If we'd have come up short on wins, it wouldn't have mattered. This group would still be special because of their work ethic. This group, the chemistry, I've been coaching for several years now, and this group's chemistry was one of the best groups of people, young people that I've ever coached. And that's why they were successful. They wanted to play for each other. Their love for the game, their love for each other is what made them successful. And so I'm very proud of them for all their accomplishments. I know we have a certificate to give them. I do want to call out names for the people that are here. Corbin Dickinson, Jake Witcher, Lucas Eaton, Zach Johnson, Nick Gobble, Jonathan Beach, DJ Carrier, Ty Tipton, Nolan Lunsford, Ethan Waters, Tyson Mitchell, Avery McCoy, Dylan Bartley. Also my coaching staff, Luke Jones, Christian Taylor, and Steve McMillan. Once again, Mayor and County Commissioners, I appreciate you recognizing us here tonight. I also want to say a special thank you for the projects that you've helped us do at Sullivan East High School and our ongoing projects as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're in. Thank you, Commissioner Morrell. Recognize a special group of young men. They may forget the scores of games, and they may even forget the record, but they'll never forget the coaches who got them there. So, thank you. Okay, I believe Commissioner Stidham is ready. Commissioner Stidham, you're recognized in the well for a special presentation.
Rex, where you at back there? Come on up. Sam? George, you coming up? In the fall of 2019, the County Commission passed a resolution to form an ad hoc committee to look at forming a full-time veteran service office. We had a veterans group from all over Sullivan County come up with a plan and submitted that plan to the commission. This commission, my colleagues here, passed it unanimously. So we had the funds to be able to bring in a full-time veteran service office the first time in Sullivan County. Well, that was just a little part of it. In April of 2020, we brought in Rex Fink. We hired him to come in to set up the office. And when I say establish it, I mean establish it. Rex walked in to an office over here in the Snow House. There was a desk, no phone. He had a desk. And he hit the ground, so he did establish it. In a very short time, we were able to move him to a larger location. And in that location now, he can do teleconferencing with the Veterans Office for veterans so they don't have to go out, especially during COVID. He has helped so many veterans in this area that he is known on the street now as the guy. So we have vans showing up with veterans from Southwest Virginia, Hawkins County, Johnson County, from everywhere, because he was able to take care of them in a timely manner. But unfortunately, we're losing Rex at the end of the month. And whoever walks in here is going to have some big shoes to fill. And while we can't give you a whole lot, Rex, I hope you'll take this plaque, and I'll read it to you. It's presented from Sullivan County Veteran Service Officer Rex Fink, April 2020 to August 2022. Thank you for your leadership in establishing the Sullivan County Veteran Service Office, your exceptional dedication to serving the veterans of this area. And being one of those veterans, I really appreciate it. But hundreds of veterans are a lot better off today because of this man and what he was been able to do. So we could give Rex a hand.
Thank you, Commissioner. Rex, congratulations. Thank you, Rex, for your service. Next up on our agenda is a report we always enjoy hearing, and our friend, your friend and mine, Clay Walker, is here to briefly address the commission. And Clay, it's good to see you back.
Thank you very much, Mayor. You always get me when you talk about enjoying a report. I'm just kind of relaxing, not thinking I'm up just yet. Last month, COVID got y'all for a week and canceled. Then the next week when you made up, it had gotten me. So that's why I'm running a month late. Today, Commissioner McWhorter, the new Commissioner for Economic Development, was in town with Marsha Blackburn talking about a lot of issues with some of our industry leaders. And I guess that's been the big news in the state over the past quarter, is that Commissioner Rolfe resigning and Stuart McWhorter taking over. He's been there about 4 weeks now, and today was my third day to get to visit with him, and he will be up later. More on that in a bit. Congratulations to Bristol on the Tennessee Hills Distillery project. Tom Anderson led that, did a great job. I know John Rose from Kingsport is here tonight. He and Tom and the teams also welcomed 2 ACT contact centers, totaling 650 jobs this past quarter. Tri-Cities Extrusion announced an expansion in Bristol Business Park. I believe that's 65 new jobs, and preserved 150 jobs. Congratulations to Tri-Cities Airport for recruitment of Final Forge into Airspace Park. We've been very busy. We had TVA Economic Development Forum. We've been in Nashville for TP event with consultants, and Economic Development Week was last quarter. We are near completion of the RailServe site in Partnership Park 2. So y'all should be getting invitation from us at some point in the near future to go out and do a ceremony and celebrate that site. We already have 3 people looking at it, and you know, these projects can move slowly, but it's exciting. I don't know if you've been out there to look at it. Gosh, it looks great. We've identified property in Kingsport to do a project there, as we talked about 3 years ago, and we have made an offer to KDB that owns the property, so we could get it under our control and seek grants and begin the site work to get it pad ready. We also are planning coming up for the Northeast Tennessee Red Carpet Tour, which is back on live, and we missed past 2 years due to COVID, and we're very excited about that. We have Michael Parker, who runs that program, basically told me today that we're full. We could take one more, but that would be it. So that's really good. A lot of people are struggling getting guests, but it speaks well to our region and at this event that we're full. We will also be holding at Meadowview the TDC Fall Conference in October. So we're excited to have that and show off our region to the rest of the state. Abby Meese has been working hard on the Career Pathways web portal, and that is near completion. It's going to be a great asset to our workforce, a great asset to our companies, hopefully a great asset to our education and workforce development folks, and it should be a conduit to tie all three of those people together. We're really excited about rolling that out soon. We have 2 announcements coming in, one the end of August, and one will be mid-September. And Dwight, I know you and Herschel have been on that one, and it's mid-September. We're finally going to get it announced. But it's in the bag, and it's just a paperwork deal. So anyway, I wanted to be brief. I know you have a full agenda, but again, I apologize I wasn't able to be with you last month, but a lot of things going on, and it's exciting in Northeast Tennessee. And I think, I know we have 2 more lined up, and we have about 3 more in the pipeline that hopefully we'll be able to be successful. Be happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Okay, we have one person seeking recognition. Commissioner Broughton, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to take a second to thank Clay. I was in a situation recently where we're working on an expansion, and I ran into some issues, and I called Clay, and he was able to direct me to somebody that was able to help. And I just wanted to say thank you, and we appreciate your help.
Good. There's no job too large or too small for me not to pass off to someone else.
Well played.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you, Commissioner Broughton. Commissioner Vance, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Clay, you didn't didn't mention the Northeast State Community College Aviation Technology Center will have an open house this coming Friday at Northeast State from 3 to 4:30 p.m. And they're going to be going over the AP programs that they're going to start teaching at Northeast State.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I will be there. I'm sure you'll be too. It's great. You know, I talked to Richard Blevins earlier this week about going on to the air show in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and they've just had their first graduating class from the aerospace program at Northeast State, and almost all those kids have been offered jobs, some of them 6 figures. It's an exciting field, it's an emerging field. COVID really pushed it back, but companies are back on a roll. And thanks for bringing that up, Commissioner Vance, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. Anybody else have questions for Clay? Clay, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for your report. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, and again, I'd like to echo what somebody said earlier, what the Reverend said. For all those who have served and who this be your last meeting, at least for a minute, I've really enjoyed getting to know you. I appreciate your service. I appreciate everybody who puts their name on a ballot. You know, that's not an easy thing to do, and I certainly have never done it. But thank you so much for all the support you've given, not only networks and me, but everything you've done for the county. It's sometimes thankless, a lot of hours, so you are appreciated. Thanks very much.
Thank you. We have another special guest with us that is not on your agenda, but that I'd like to recognize at this time, Judge David Tipton. And the judge is, I hope we're gonna talk about the future plans. Judge Tipton, thank you for coming.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and as a proud alumnus of Sullivan East High School, it was a good night to be here. On, last time I addressed the commission was March the 17th, 2014, when I and others asked you to appoint one of us to fill out the unexpired term of my longtime friend and law partner, Judge Bill Watson. And there were 23 commissioners present, and I was proud to get 22 votes. The 24th commissioner called me before and said, I have a veterans meeting out of town and I can't be there. You know I'd vote for you. And I said, that's more important. I know all of you here have been on a ballot and how good a feeling it makes you to your fellow citizens to elect you to these important positions. But I can't tell you when I walked out that door that day how important it was that 22 commissioners felt enough faith in me to take that position. I walked out that door, got in my car, drove to the courthouse, and Judge Lauterbach swore me in, handed me a docket, and said, here, start hearing these cases. And so it's been a good time. It's time to go. I think it's important to know when it's time to go, and it's my time. And 8-year terms, I sure wasn't going to commit to another 8-year term. But I wanted to come and thank the commission for the support that we have in the courts. I go to judicial conferences and talk to other judges. There's about 150 some sessions judges all across Tennessee. These are county judges. And I talk to many of them who have the, I talk to many of them don't have what we have here, and county's bigger than us. You know, the courtroom facilities we have in Bristol, you know, the staff that I have, my court administrator sitting over there keeps me out of trouble. I've had excellent bailiffs, and it's gone by in some ways pretty quickly, but on Wednesdays when you got 50 domestic violence cases and 12 orders of protection, it kind of drags on those days. But I've been saying this to several groups. I know I didn't always make the right decision, but it wasn't because I wasn't trying. And so I thank you for the support that you give the courts and the support I know you'll give Judge Vance, who is coming up in a couple of weeks. And so I'm going to end my comments. My wife, the last comment was, don't be long-winded if you expect me to fix your subject. So I might be the judge in the courtroom, but believe me, I'm not the judge at home. Thank you.
Judge, thank you.
And I would like to say, Dwight, you have Ann in my prayers for Tom. Dwight and I went to school together and at Mary's Hughes and played a little baseball together.
How high can you high jump now?
6'7" in college and about 2 inches now.
He held the record at ETSU for high jump for a long time.
Really?
You never thought of it.
I had no idea. Well, I expect that he may practice that in his retirement. And Godspeed to David. He's been a jewel for this county. I do want at this time to recognize the newly appointed mayor of Bluff City, Jeff Broles. Mayor Broles, it's always nice to have you with us. If you'd like to have a couple of minutes to podium, you're welcome. You have somebody with you?
I do. Good evening, everybody. Bluff City is open for business. I said the other day, excuse me, to a group, new administration, new direction, new opportunities. I mean it. I would also like to introduce my teammate and our new vice mayor, Ben Adams. He is going to be a strong partner in Bluff City for me and an ally to you. we would both ask you this. We'd like your support. We'd like your advice, your suggestions, your mentorship, and obviously your prayers as we try to push forward as a town. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, and congratulations on your appointments. I believe that completes the recognitions that we wanted to make. Every guest here is important and here for a reason, and as we move through our agenda, some of you will probably be called on to make comments, and we have, I think, a record for this year, 21 items on our 21 resolutions tonight, and if I had one, I would want it to be the last one because it's probably going to be a long evening. So bear with us, and commissioners, make your arguments succinct and your explanations, and get your colleagues to the vote as quickly as you can, and with as thorough information as you have. So next up. That'd be fine with me. He said that we want to put them all on the consent calendar, and that would probably not the best interest, but a great suggestion. At this time, I do one of the things that the mayor is authorized to do, and just read into the record that I am accepting the recommendation of the Bluntville Utility District for appointment for a member, and Mr. Wayne Feathers has agreed and is qualified to serve on the Bluntville Utility District, and I hereby appoint him to that vacancy that exists. I believe it's a reappointment, but we will enter that into the record, and I thank Mr. Feathers for serving on our utility districts to provide that vital service to the people of our county. Next item on the agenda is the nominations of judicial commissioners for Sullivan County. As you will recall, several years ago, you authorized the appointment of judicial commissioners. And on the recommendation of the judges in Sullivan County, they have recommended to you that you reappoint Eric Center of Bristol, Tennessee, Bruce Bullis of Bluntville, Tennessee, Laurel Butch Atkins of Kingsport, Tennessee, and John Blessing of Kingsport, Tennessee. So I'm going to ask if you will put that on the board. Are there any other nominations? I don't know if that's a proper move, but we certainly want to give public hearing. But these are the recommendations of your judges, Judge Tipton and others. So when the board opens, we have a motion to adopt Gardner, Crawford, Galton, Crosswhite. Seconds. I don't think we told Laura that was going to be on the board, and she's very quick, nimble fingered. While we're waiting, I will announce that you see the vacancy over on our county attorneys. Those of you who don't know, Dan Street notified us that he once again had COVID. So y'all keep Dan in your prayers. It's his second time, and his entire family's had it. And take this opportunity to remind you to do as much as you can to prevent that. Thank you, Laura. When the board opens, you've heard the motion for adoption. The board opens to cast your vote for the appointment of judicial commissioners for Sullivan County for the next fiscal year. Everyone voted? Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
24 yes.
Have received necessary majority, the aforementioned individuals are appointed judicial commissioners for Sullivan County, and I would, just as an aside, I would remind the members how important these people have been to try to keep our jail population at a minimum by doing arrangements themselves, and they provide a great service to this community. Okay, next up on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the special call meeting. Commissioner Crawford moves adoption, Commissioner Wood, Commissioner Cross second. So it's been spread on your desk as a special call meeting to pass the budget. So you got it on the board. She's got it on the board. We're going to vote for it. When the board opens, please cast your vote on the motion to adopt. Madam Clerk, take the vote.
24 yes.
Have received necessary majority. The minutes are adopted as published. Next up, if the Madam Clerk is ready, we will hear the list of nominees for Notary Public in Sullivan County, and the process we have is that she will read the list, and if a commissioner objects, we will remove that name for investigation by the commissioner. So, Madam Clerk, read the list.
Rebecca Ann Aceto, Vicki Armstrong, Jenna Bailey, Danielle J. Beeler, Billie Jean Blanton, Brian K. Bowen, Pamela Renee Brown, Lana Brown, Seth Austin Bullock, Julie R. Cantor, Elizabeth A. Chico, H. Yvonne Cockrell, Victoria P. Crenshaw, M. T. Dale, Angel Michelle Dotson, Robert C. English II, Dustin J. Franklin, Nicole F. Gordon, Charles Austin Gullett, Michael D. Hamlin, Crystal Michelle Hawkins, Janet Hernandez, April M. Hicks, Sherry Diane Hilton, J. Lynn Hobbs, Tara Allison Hunt, Annie LaPrade, Justin A. Lester, Casey Lyle, Tessa Malone, Rebecca Meade, Wanda K. Michaels, Debbie S. Monk, Robin Renee Mullins, Cheyenne Nowinski, Pamela S. Osborne, Kimberly Danielle Perry, Sharon Quillen, C. Christopher Raines III, Hannah Brooke Shoup, Clarice Strong, Shelby H. Tomlinson, Cassie Trent, Sherry Denise Walton, Jonathan Andrew White, Kim Wolf, and Shanoa Brianna Worley.
Motion approved.
We have a motion approved by Commissioner Aker, second by Commissioner Hopper. Any objections? Without objection, when the board opens, please cast your vote for the approval of motion to approve appointment of notary publics for Sullivan County. Everyone voted. Anyone wish to change your vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
24 yes.
I received the necessary majority. The list as presented is approved. Next up is Commissioner Cross, if you will do us the honor of bringing forward those who have requested to address the commission. I will ask those who address the commission tonight, we will try to stay to our list of 3 minutes each. I will ask you, normally I would let you continue and make your point up to 5 minutes, but we have 13 people signed up, so 3 minutes each. Doesn't take much to know that that's going to take us about 40 minutes, unless some of you are more brief than we expect. So in reading the list here, if by some change you are here for a public hearing on a rezoning issue, when I call your name, just tell me that you don't need to come forward, just say I'm here for rezoning. This is public comment section. We will have a public comment section for rezoning, but that's after this. So, when I call your name, if I don't butcher it too severe, would you come up to the, Nate Gorilla? You here for zoning?
Yeah, no comment.
Come on up to the front to the,
No, I'm not going.
Mr. Mayor, John Rose, Christopher Carr, and Nate, we're here for something later in the program. We didn't realize that we wasn't supposed to sign.
oh, okay.
Apologize.
Thank you, John. Well, and if you're here for something else, just tell me, and I hear pretty well, but appreciate you standing up and saying that. No, I have one that's marked out, and if that person would like to speak later, I'll recognize you. Randy Perky is the next. Ms. Perky, you're recognized.
Hello. So my name is Brandy Herkey. I am the Executive Director of the Animal Shelter of Sullivan County. First off, I want to say my thank you with commissioners for serving our community and supporting the Animal Shelter of Sullivan County. As many of you know, in 2018, we were left in pretty bad shape and we were the sore thumb of the county's problem. But with the help of the commissioners and the support of our county, we was given the challenge to improve the animal welfare in our county. With the partnership of the Animal Shelter of Sullivan County Board, we exceeded our own expectations. Back in June of this year, we had an open house. We wanted to thank the ones that were able to attend. I was asked here today just to give you an update of the amazing things that we are doing for our community and the improvements that we have been doing to our shelter. We want to ensure you that we are being good stewards of our funding and wanted to share some of the things that we were doing. In the last 6 months, the Animal Shelter of Sullivan County has provided a vaccine clinic that has served 769 animals, meaning we've given basic vaccines, rabies, microchips, dewormers. We have also microchipped 423 of those animals and we're able to reunite them quicker to their owners. Our spay and neuter clinic has taken off, performing spay and neuters on shelter animals and community-owned animals. We have spayed 250 community cats. Those are going to be your cats that are running around in your community. We have also spayed or neutered 218 owned animals on top of doing every shelter animal that is in our building. This service is offered for all surrounding counties, not just Sullivan County. The Animal Shelter of Sullivan County alters all animals prior to adoption. This is focusing our mission on we see spay and neuter as part of the solution of the overpopulation of our community. This service allows our community to adopt healthy, fully vetted animals. The ongoing partnership with UT continues to educate us on the best practices for shelter animals and allows us to be the gold standard of shelter outreach. As part of our outreach goals, we continue to reach out to surrounding shelters to educate them and be able to assist as UT veterinarian students have done for us. I want to talk to you about our euthanasia rates and tell you that we are still below the national no-kill standard. Our euthanasia rate right now is 0.02. I say that because before it was very high, almost 50% of our population. I want to encourage you to please stop by the shelter anytime to see the improvements we are doing. I don't care what we are doing, we will take the time to show you our shelter. Please reach out to me anytime with questions. I do have a slideshow with some pictures just to let you guys see some of the things that we're doing since some of you haven't had a chance to stop by. So this is going to be the outside. This is our new sign. We're going to have another one of these put down at the road. This just has our hours of operation, to change from where we are now. And this is the wonderful team that put our air conditioner in. We have dealt for so long of our kennels being 95 degrees or higher. It's very unsafe for the animals and very unsafe for my staff. We now can have our kennels to about 72 degrees. My staff is loving it. They're not suffering back there as long as with the animals. These guys were wonderful putting this in. They love seeing the animals. You know, they were very generous with their work. I couldn't speak highly, you know, for these guys. As you can tell, he's happy to be there. So.
Brandy, could I interrupt you just a second?
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate this presentation, but this is public comment section.
Yes.
Now, I will, we'll go on with it, but I'm gonna recess that public comment section and recognize you as a representative of a agency of
Okay.
Sullivan County government. So I won't hold you to the 3 minutes because it's obviously not gonna work.
I appreciate you. Thank
So,
you.
I did not
I'll go
know
quick.
you, didn't know you had this presentation. Would have
Yes.
been happy to put you on earlier.
Yes,
So
sir.
you go ahead and continue.
Thank you. You can go to the next one. That's just the air conditioner. This is UT Mobile. So this is the team that actually comes out to us now. We still go to them some. That spay and neuters a lot of our shelter animals plus our community cats. Without this partnership with UT, we could not do what we do today for our community. These are them working in our surgical area, performing surgeries on shelter animals. This is our wonderful team that comes out. There's 4 of us up there, and the other ones will be the veterinarians and some of the students from UT. So this is our lab area. So this is every animal that enters our shelter gets a heartworm test, Giardia, fecal, the whole 9 yards. This is, you know, again, this is also for our spay and neuter clinic. So owned animals can also be able to utilize this. If they want to have that extra testing done, that is something that we offer. And that is our surgical area. So as you're seeing, that will be our prep area. That's prep area 2, just kind of stacked into the corner. When we're not using it, we're able to just push everything so we have more space to work with our shelters. This is going to be our surgical area. I think the next picture, I'm sorry. That is, so we have 3 tables in there, which allows, again, UT to come in. So what UT does is bring their 2 veterinarians, a vet tech, and 4 or 5 students with them. So we are now a teaching facility as well. And that little baby was fixed. That was one of our babies here at the shelter. So that was the UT fixed them. And of course, you can't forget the tongue hangout. So this is Erica. She is one of our kennel supervisors and one of the techs that helps in surgery. So I just wanted to, you know, give you guys an update of the things that we're doing. You know, we're kind of quiet. You know, we don't. we're busy. But we truly are using, you know, the money the way that you guys, I hope, you know, desire us to use it. I really recommend, you know, ask, please come out and see it. Like I said, I know that you guys are very busy. There's not a minute that you guys can't stop by. You got 5 minutes. I will walk you through and let you see what we're doing. So, I appreciate you.
Do the members have any questions for our guests from the animal shelter, Sullivan County? Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
We will recess once again for our public comment section and go back to our list. I'm assuming that the next 2 are here for specific resolutions, John Rose and Chris McCart. So we'll move on to Rick Hicks. Mr. Hicks, would you give us your name and address and for our electronic record, Rick?
Mayor Venerable, I'm Rick Hicks from Biloxi City, Tennessee, and I had some other comments I wanted to say, but I'm going to save that for another day. But there's another person that's going to speak here shortly, and to follow along with the animal shelter. This lady, she is a lieutenant general, and she was here last meeting. She runs a shelter too, of her own, pays for it, with her own money. She got about 30 to 40 cats. She brings them in, she takes them, she gets them neutered, she gets her shots, she takes care of them, she feeds them. She's a wonderful lady. She's a good neighbor to the people where she lives. And I think that to follow along with the animal shelter, what they do, this lady should be recognized for what she does for Sullivan County with her own money. But, and I I will probably get back on the agenda for next meeting because I have some other things to discuss, but I just want to recognize this lady, and she will be speaking here shortly. Thank you.
Well, that's a fine thing to do, and we appreciate it, Rick, and please come back. Next on the list is Ty LaRue. Ty, are you here?
I'm here, I'm on the agenda for later.
Okay, very good. Dana Longa?
Me.
Yes. Thanks for being with us. If you will, give us your name and address.
Yes, I'm actually retired lieutenant colonel, not general. I wish to be a general, but not there. Dana Longa from 2160 Enterprise Road. I was here last month, and I actually felt I was treated unfairly, very unfairly. So I know I only have 3 minutes, but I try to be brief. I am wearing this uniform because my neighbor doesn't like military people. She tells other neighbors that military people get money benefits. I served 26 years in the military. I spent 11 years in the Army as enlisted. I raised to rank Sergeant First Class E7. Then I switched to the Air Force. I spent 15 years in the Air Force. I was in the medical field. I deployed 4 times. I was in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Kuwait. My last deployment was the hardest one. It was in the medical field. I was literally scraping casualties after AV. So make it story short, I was still on active duty. I decided to get a house. My goodness, I got a house. The house was unoccupied for over 10 years. I'm wondering what was the reason. Well, guess what? The flooding was the reason. I'm not sure why the flooding was the main focus of last meeting, but it is an issue. And I wish I didn't get this house, but I bought it. I bought the house also with 30+ feral cats. And when I came, there was cats everywhere. Yes, I'm animal lover. I'm the biggest animal lover. I spent over $30,000 to fix the cats. I have a brain, the cat was brain tumor surgery. So like, I didn't plan to talk about that, but yes, I don't mind to take care of animals as long as they don't multiply and they are healthy. Going back to the issue, so I bought the house, had no idea the flooding issue. My first interaction with my neighbor was, I actually was cleaning my garage after bad water flooding. I have to remove everything. The water was, I mentioned briefly last month, the water was up to the ankle. So the neighbor stopped and I mentioned it. So like, what's wrong with this house? And she said, well, your water is going to my property. And I said, Debbie, of course it's going to your property because you're on the bottom of the hill. And the water issue didn't come out not a single time until last meeting. When she mentioned that last year, I said, it's my property, I can do what I want, and she mentioned about the water flooding. It was everything but the trees. I love trees. My last deployment, I need to have a little bit of privacy. That's why I put my trees. So, trying to have in 3 minutes issue. The last year and a half was literally a nightmare. The more I planted the trees, the more angry my neighbor become. I saw Sullivan County Highway Department trucks coming constantly, and first she didn't like the trees, then she mentioned she's going to be killed because she cannot leave her driveway. When that kind of didn't work, everything else. But anyway, in March of this year, which was over a year, I was assured by Highway Commissioner the issue was closed, and I was relieved until I decided to apply for permit. I'm tired of cleaning water in my garage, so I decided to put 600 square foot shed. And I came and said, I'm here to pay permit fee. And they said, well, you only have 300 square foot left. Unfortunately, 900 that flooded in the water, it counts against you. So I'm like, okay, let me apply for rezoning, and I needed your help. I honestly needed your help. I'm attached to my military stuff. I'm not ready to discard yet, and I'm tired of cleaning water.
Gonna need you to wrap up.
Okay, so when I said I felt I was represented not fairly, we go like literally in the 30 seconds. If you look in the first picture, this is my property looked before I planted any trees, and you can see in the upper left corner, it's actually going in the bottom, the water was going all the way to my neighbor property. current view, you actually can see more grass, more trees. The middle picture, this is actually where is my garage, and you can see how water is coming down. All the way in the bottom, this is the water flooding way before I had my project. Second page, I actually, Amber Turbet mentioned that trees actually help with flooding, and I kind of felt that her idea was.
Ma'am, I hate to interrupt you, but I've been
Sir,
very
can you
late.
give me, please, one more minute, please?
Well,
Okay,
you're
one more minute.
addressing a planning and zoning issue that was handled last month.
Yes,
I'm
but
gonna go ahead and let you
Thank you,
finish.
sir. I just feel like I was ambushed and not prepared, and I will be really fast. So the trees, I'm not going to read the slides, you can actually look it up. I went home and said, what is the number one to stop flooding? It's actually planting more trees, and you can read that. And on the next page, it's actually the first picture. This is the driveway when my neighbor thinks that she's going to be killed. I don't see the issue. It is possible the water issue and her problem, the middle slide, because they putting sand. And I'm not so sure why Mr. Jones kind of introduced himself that he's ex-commissioner. Yeah, I'm not sure. He doesn't live in this property, but I do, but I felt like I have less rights. And this is the bottom, where is my trees, which kind of prevent the water. And the last slide, I don't have to talk. This is just a topographical map, and you can see that she's in the bottom of the hill.
But I would ask for your respect for the commission and our guests.
Yes, sir.
By respecting our rules.
Yes, sir. I respect. Only one last sentence. The people who deny, 11 of you, are invited to visit my property. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Robert Wolf.
Here for rezoning.
Okay, thank you. Reed Burton?
I'm here
Reed?
for
You're on?
something else, thank you.
Okay,
The next
very
one.
good. Matt?
I'm here for something else as well.
Okay, very good. And Scott? Scott,
Yes, sir.
straight up. Yes, sir. Come forward.
How are you, sir?
I'm sorry I can read printing and cursive, but I was going to mess up your last name, so I knew you'd recognize Scott. Give us your name and address.
My name is Scott Stadol. I live in Johnson City. The reason I'm here is I work in Sullivan County. And once again, as I was here last month in front of you, I opposed the pay to stay at the Sullivan County Jail. As some of you remember, I spent 28 years in prison, but it was in Illinois. The pay to stay program here in your jail is not going to solve the issue. I offered a small token of how to try and get some of that money back. If an inmate requests services, put a copay on that. $35 a day to stay in the jail, if you added that up, was $12,775 after one full year. I now have 4 clients that are staying in the jail, 3 of which are over 1 year. They are considered homeless, they have no job, they are actually going to go into treatment programs once they reach that end of their 1129, and hopefully into a recovery house, which will help them get the job. One of the solutions in that proposal was community service. I don't know if I said it last month, but to put somebody on community service and pay them minimum wage, at the end of that week or 2 weeks, when it's due to be paid, are you going to give them anything to live on? Or are you going to take that whole paycheck? I think I stated last month that the only thing that somebody that is in jail that doesn't have a job to come back to, because employers will not hold their jobs, they're either going to go back to the drugs and the alcohol, the thefts and the robbery, or like I said last month, unfortunately something worse. I offered my phone number, my email address, and if you didn't get that email that I sent you with that letter back in June, I'm going to leave it on the table again so that you can see once again the email that I sent out. I'm offering my life, my story, and maybe a solution. It's that $64,000 question. How do we fix the problem? The new jail's not even open yet, but yet it's already filled because you have so many people sleeping on the floor in the current jail. The problem is not gonna be fixed by trying to put a $35 a day state of pay on top of an inmate that is homeless, that doesn't have a job, that has nothing when they get out. And if they do have something, it is their families that are supporting them, that are paying for the phone calls, that are paying for the commissary because the food isn't that good. Now, I'm not trying to stand here as somebody that's been on that side of the fence to say there is, just let them out and everything will be, fine. That's not what I'm saying. There are better ways to do it than trying to put a $12,000 bill on somebody's head because they spent a year in jail. They haven't even been convicted of anything. They are
Scott,
innocent.
I need you to wrap up, Scott. We're at
Yes,
3
sir.
minutes. You go ahead and make
My
your...
last comment would be this. If somebody left that jail after 1 year and they went to trial and were found innocent, are you going to pay them $12,775 because they're innocent? Or are you still going to want them to pay that fee? Thank you. I'm going to leave my information once again, and I hope to hear from several of you about this. Thank you.
Thank you. As usual, if you have signed up and or failed to sign up and would like to address the commission on any issue that you think would be of interest to the commission, I would recognize you now. Seeing no response, public hearing is closed. Mr. Calvin, you're recognized on item number 1. Mr. Calvin moves the introduction and adoption of item number 1, seconded by Commissioner Gardner. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of item number 1, motion for adoption of item number 1, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. So the motion is adopted, and we will recess for our planning and zoning and recognize Ms. Amber Torbett in the well. Ms. Torbett.
Thank you. If you have your zoning packet handy, if you'll follow along with me, please. We have 4 individual rezoning requests that went before the Planning Commission last month. 1 went to the Kingsport Planning Commission, but I will present all of those staff reports for you. The first request is from the heirs of Wolf Property, Martha Johnson, Betty Muse, and the other heirs. Some of them are present if you have any questions for them. This request is to rezone about 20 acres of property on North Austin Springs Boulevard or North Austin Springs Road in Piney Flats from A1, which is general agricultural, to R1, single-family residential. Their intent is to sell it to a subdivision developer for a new single-family home development. Again, this request went to Sullivan County Planning Commission last month. There was no opposition, and it was unanimously recommended in favor of the R1 zoning. The purpose of, just to recap, the difference between A1 and R1. A1 has 1 acre minimum lot sizes. R1 can go down to 20,000 square feet or a half acre. There's no public sewer to this site, so the minimum lot size is at least 20,000 square feet per TDEC, state law. Might be larger if public sewer is not available, but it might be larger depending on soil suitability. That's the only main difference. Of course, A1 would also allow single-wide mobile homes. I'm not sure if there's any deed restrictions to that, but you're here to approve and consider the request from A1 to R1 for single-family residential. And they have it in their slide, but for everyone else, as you can see, it's just an open pasture field never been developed, surrounded by some other existing single-family homes. And you can see it's a continuation of the existing R1 of those sites that have already been developed. That's all I have.
Any questions for Ms. Torman? Seeing none, I would expect you're ready to vote. This comes to you in a positive manner. So when board opens, cast your vote, yes or no, to approve case number 1. Board's open. Has everyone voted? Anyone wish to change the vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
24 yes.
Item number 1 is approved. Ms. Torbett on that, case number 2.
Very good. The second request, if you'll flip through, Lauren, yeah, those are, thank you. This request is from several property owners coming together to rezone their property from planned business back to A1, general agricultural. And they got together for a joint petition so it wouldn't become a spot zoning type situation. As you can see, well, this went before Kingsport Planning Commission, so their full staff report is in your packet. The Kingsport Planning Commission unanimously recommended in favor of this request. There was one property owner who had opposed it or had some concerns, Mr. Zimmerman. He owns a mobile home park, as you can see, up the road. The purpose of this request is to bring it into conformance with the existing land use. They live there, and they're large tracts. They have no intent of developing it commercially. So they would like to rezone it back to A1, just for that simple purpose.
You've heard the explanation. Any questions for Ms. Torbett? Seeing none, you appear to be ready to vote. Comes to you in a positive manner. Board up, cast your vote. Everyone voted. Anyone wish to change your vote? I'm sorry, Mark, the vote, I didn't see you. Go ahead and turn on your mic, because I can't turn. Can you do that?
Well,
I can't turn it on with the vote being taken.
okay, I just had one question. On this zoning, there was neighborhood opposition. Did you open the floor up from any discussion from the public?
I did not, but I expected the public to seek recognition. If there is someone in the public, we will clear the board and vote again. Is there anyone in the public that wants to speak to this? Thank you, Mark. Thank you. I think that could save us trouble down the road, so I appreciate it. Appreciate the call. Not perfect. Okay, board is open on applicant number 2. Having received no response from public comment. Board's open, cast your vote. Everyone voted. Judy, we're voting again on number 2, Judy. Thank you. Anyone wish to change your vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
24 yes.
Applicant number 2 is approved.
Thank you.
Ms. Torbett, you're recognized on 3.
Thank you. This one did go to our planning commission last month. This request is from Robert and Cynthia Wolf. They live at 300 Neely Lane in Blumpville, as you can see off Highway 75. Their request is to rezone their property from R1 back to A1. As you can see, the subdivision lots were zoned R1 at the time, and the surrounding area that's undeveloped remains A1. The Wolves purchased an additional lot. I believe I included the plat in your packet. And they would like to build a bigger storage building in the back. Where the arrow is, literally is where their house is resting, and then as you can see, they have additional access off the side street to the large lot they purchased and combined with their house lot. So it's larger than your traditional subdivision lot, plenty of room for a larger storage building by their garden. It went before the Planning Commission last month. There was no opposition, and our Planning Commission unanimously is forwarding a favorable recommendation to you all.
You've heard the explanation. Commissioner Eckert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman, and I know we've had the two zonings already, but I've been waiting. It was Randy's last meeting. I kept waiting for him to ask Amber if there's any deed restrictions on anything we need to know. I mean, come on, Randy, make it. All right.
Well, this is an older subdivision that was created before zoning. Most deed restrictions are only good for about 20 years unless they're renewed, so it was not brought up. I don't believe so.
Okay.
But that is a good question. Thank you.
Ask and answer. Okay. Any further questions for Amber before I open it up to the public? Is there anyone in the public that wishes to speak on application number 3? And again, Mark, thank you for reminding me of that. Seeing none, we're ready to vote, I believe. It comes to you in a positive manner when the board opens to cast your vote. Everyone voted? Anyone wish to change your vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
24 yes.
Application number 3 is approved. Ms. Corbett on application number 4.
Thank you. The last request is from Joey Dye and Tanya White, mother and son. They purchased property a while ago. This is on the corner of Jonesboro Road and Allison Road near Pickensbridge Road, if you're familiar, near the Food City Shopping Center development. This request previously was rezoned to planned business. However, there's an existing dwelling on the property and the resident would like to stay. They've made some improvements. The owners, Mr. Dye and Ms. White, have requested to rezone it back to R1 so that they can subdivide off the house lot to the tenant, future buyer, as well as 2 additional lots. It's served by Johnson City Water and actually Johnson City Public Sewer, and we have a plat conditionally approved if it gets rezoned, already approved by the utilities and the Planning Commission. So again, they decided not to develop it commercially. They would like to keep it residential, and that's their request. It comes unanimously in a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission last month.
You've heard the explanation. Any questions from Ms. Torvin on application number 4? Seeing none, I'll recognize anybody in the audience who would like to comment on application number 4 and want to be recognized. Seeing none, when the board opens, it comes to you in a positive manner when the board opens to cast your vote. Yes to approve, no to disapprove. Has everyone voted? Anyone wish to change your vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
24 yes.
Have received the necessary majority. Application number 4 is passed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amber, do we have any additional comments?
Not this month. I'll stick around. Resolution number 12 went to the Planning Commission, so if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer those. But that's all the zoning I have. Thank you.
Thank you. We might recognize that this might be a record for planning and zoning with 4 applications.
You're welcome.
So thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to handle resolutions before you get a break, folks. We did not have a work session. We don't have any consent agenda unless somebody wants to move, put them all on I don't see a motion for that. First up, Mr. Glover on item number 2. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This resolution is to request officials of Sullivan County Judicial System representing Sullivan County Courts to review provisions of Sullivan County Pay-to-Stay program and discuss ideals designated to require an inmate to repay or per diem cost of $35 and or other costs for their stay when committed to the Sullivan County Jail for any length of time of 24 hours or more. If you all want me to read the whole thing, I will, but we went over this several times. I think everyone's familiar with it. At last month's meeting, Commissioner Harker did ask me to do an amendment to this, and I accepted Commissioner Harker-Rhodes' amendment. I will read that to you. The resolution to request officials of the Sullivan County Judicial System representing Sullivan County Courts to review provisions of the Sullivan County Pay-to-Stay program and discuss ideals designated to require an inmate to repay a per diem cost of $35 and other costs for their stay when committed to the Sullivan County Jail for any length of time of 24 hours or more. Commissioner Harker-Rhodes wanted me to add once convicted of a crime as charged. So I did install that in this for Commissioner Harker-Rhodes. There was another amendment by Commissioner Locke.
Mr. Glover, do you accept that amendment?
Yes, I do, sir.
You accept, you're recognized.
Yes, I do.
Number 2.
Motion to amend as follows by Commissioner Locke was a lien to be attached to any property or vehicle an inmate acquires if balance on pay-to-stay fees is not paid in full upon release from the Sullivan County Jail, payment plan be instituted. And I do accept that from Commissioner Locke.
Any questions on, the sponsor accepts the amendment. Any questions for the sponsor of the amendment? Seeing none, Mr. Glover, you're recognized.
The third amendment, Mr. Chairman, is a motion to amend as follows made by the sponsor. All pay-to-stay fees will be collected by the clerk of the appropriate court as part of the fines and costs imposed in each case upon conviction of charges. That was a question too of who would collect the fees. So I wanted to put that in the resolution also. So
You
that
accept
would be
amendment
clear.
number 3?
Yes, yes, sir.
Without objection. Do you move adoption?
I move adoption of this, sir.
As Commissioner Glover moves adoption of item number 2 as amended, as you've heard the amendments, and those amendments are filed with the clerk. We have a second by Commissioner King. Any discussion? Commissioner Aiken?
Thank you, Chairman. I heard everything you just said. I just want to clarify because we made a couple quick changes since this whole thing started. So, no fines, fees, or anything until the person goes to trial or enters a plea of guilty.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Are convicted by the judge.
Yeah, because I mean, this has been an interesting resolution to say the least. I've been surprised at how many people were against it. You know, I'm tired of having to build a $95 million jail and raise the taxes, but we need to have our security officers safe there. Knock on wood, still never step foot over there. I hope I never have to. But I do commend you for listening to some of the amendments, and I think it is only fair if someone goes to trial and is found innocent that maybe they don't have to pay for it. So I like that amendment, and I can fully support it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Aker. Mr. Broughton, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Glover, I didn't put it in written form, but, you know, we all sat here and we heard the opposition to it, and it seemed like the biggest problem people had with it were folks that were ruled indigent, that, you know, if they're already poor, they can't pay this. Would you accept the amendment if they're ruled indigent, they're not accepted to pay this?
I don't think so. I think that if we do that, it's not fair across the board for everybody. So I don't want to accept that. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Broughton, you're not suggesting an amendment then, the sponsor? Okay, very good. Just wanted to make sure that we didn't have a motion for amendment. Commissioner Vance, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wasn't here when the judges came over here and spoke against this resolution. So the question that comes to my mind, and the ones that I've talked to, they weren't in support of this. But what comes to my mind, that if we approve this and the judges are not in agreement to it, how could it ever be enforced? They're the one who imposes fines and fees. The other thing is one of the amendments you made there about the person that's going to collect this fee. It's $35 a day fee. The circuit court clerk collects all the fees currently. When Judge Goodwin or say Judge Rogers impose a fine and so forth, then clerks, circuit court clerks' requirements is to collect those fees. I don't think we have the authority to sit here and require the circuit court clerk to collect fees. That's not statutory required by law because he's a constitutional office holder. The other thing that I disagree with this, and I agree with the whole, it sounds good. It sounds good. I just don't know if it's going to be feasible to do this. But I also wonder, how much is it going to cost the county to be trying to collect fees, and how much personnel is it going to cost? How much postage? How much liens are going to have to be filed on assets and property to try to collect this fee after the individual is out of jail? So there's a lot, it takes a lot to collect debt. There's due processes that you have to follow through to collect debt. Then you've got legal issues that you're gonna have to have an attorney to sue those individuals for fees that are not collected. Who's gonna do that? Is the county attorney gonna take that on and start saying that XYZ here has failed to pay and owes the county X amount of money? I know when I worked at EMS and we were trying to collect medical bills of ambulance transports, there's just some of them you just not going to collect. And there's counties write off hundreds of thousands of dollars just in ambulance bills. But there was a lot of money put in trying to collect that money. So I just wonder how much money and how many people is it going to take to fully implement this plan? Herschel, you're the sponsor of it. Do you have the answers to these questions?
It's not gonna be that much harder to collect these fees when you're collecting the fines and fees already from the inmates. And I'm glad you asked that question a minute ago about the judges and so forth. That was one of the things I was waiting for from back from the state. If this commission, this body of commissioners, vote for this and adopt it on 16 votes, we do have the authority to do that.
But do you have the authority to tell the constitutional judges and the constitutional office holders that this is now becoming your responsibility?
If we vote for this by 2/3 vote and it passes, then in my opinion, it should be followed.
Has the judges and the constitutional officers holders, have they agreed to this?
No,
No.
no.
So is that us trying to step above our authority, which we are legislators that set tax rates and approve budgets and stuff like that, trying to manage the court system and manage the sheriff's department? Sheriff said he's not for it. The judges are not for it. Is this us overstepping our legislative authority as a county commissioner, trying to enforce them or force them to do something that they have said they don't want to do?
Since we are the funding body from both the sheriff's department and the judicial system, I think we have the right to do that.
I don't think so. I think we are legislators that sets the tax rates and the budgets. But I have a problem sitting here voting for something when the people that's affected by it every single day, that deals in the court systems, that knows a whole lot more than any of us sitting in here. I'll give Tony and Michael Cole, they deal in it. that know more about it than us saying, no, this is not good, this is not good, we don't think this is what the county ought to be doing. It doesn't come good to me, it doesn't come good to me in good references or support. But you say that you feel this county commission has the authority to basically tell the judges, the clerk's office, that you're going to do this. And you feel this county commission has that authority to do that.
From what I've sent back from the state, if this body passes by 2/3 vote, we have the authority to charge the $35 a day pay to stay for the inmates to reimburse the county.
All right.
And
Thank you.
I'd like to ask you this, Commissioner Vance. This has been on the agenda for 2 months. Have you one time offered to come forward to make a suggestion of your own?
Have I? No, sir, I haven't,
you
and I'll
haven't.
just be honest with you.
No, you haven't.
I wasn't here, I was on vacation when the judges came here, but I did get contacted by some of the judges, and they expressed their viewpoint since I wasn't here.
Let's keep the discussion to the tenets of the bill.
So, do I have a recommendation or amendment to that? No. It's a situation, I don't know how to deal with it, I just don't think this is the ideal situation to do it. It sounds good, but I just don't see it's gonna be benefiting the cost we're going to incur. That's my opinion, that's my vote, thank you.
Commissioner George, you're recognized.
Thank you. Herschel, on the amendment that you accepted, you can't hear me, sorry. I guess I want some clarification on one of the amendments you accepted, because what was said was if someone, I think we have 60% of the people in our jail currently are pre-trial. So if they go to trial and they're found innocent, then there is no charge, you're not gonna go.
Correct.
Okay. So if they go to trial and they're released based on time served, at that point, because, I mean, they didn't know they had a bill, you know, I mean, I'm saying I'm innocent, and I go and they say, you know, we're gonna let you go on time served, is that person then gonna be charged retro for all the time they were there?
I don't think we can do that, no.
So for the 60% that's currently in there, until they go to trial, and then if they're found guilty but time served and let out, there is no charge.
I don't see how we can charge for
So
that.
it would only be charged for the guilty with an extended time frame.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when we were looking at the original numbers on what kind of money this would bring in, we were basing it on 100% of the people in there. So pretrial can't pay.
I didn't base it on 100%. I based it on the percentage of county, surrounding county, not state prisoners.
Okay,
No.
so
We can't charge the state, not ma'am.
State can't pay.
State's already paying for their inmates to be in jail.
And pretrial, everybody up to pretrial, that 60% can't pay. So we're really just looking at a small number of the total that would be, this would be billed. Okay, that's what I didn't understand, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hopper, you're recognized.
I'm a little bit confused, I guess that's easily stated. When I read this resolution, I see resolution to request officials of the Sullivan County Judicial System representing Sullivan County Courts to review provisions of a Sullivan County pay-to-stay program and discuss ideas designed to require an inmate to repay per diem. I do not see in the resolution itself a mandate to do this, to implement it. I don't see any indication of implementation. What I see is asking the courts to come up with a plan. And I could appreciate this if there was perhaps an amendment to the resolution to be within a certain period of time that the courts will report back to their findings about the potential for providing or an implementation of such a program.
Thank you, Mr. Hopper. No, Commissioner Gardner.
Thank you, Mayor. Are there any other
go back in history, are there any other resolutions on the books that do the same thing? Are there any other pay-to-stay resolutions that currently aren't being enforced by the court system?
I think at one time, Commissioner Gardner, there was a jailer's fee way back in the, I think, early '80s, I think. But this is a totally different resolution than the jailer's fee.
So would that need to be rescinded upon this one's passage? That's just.
Without Attorney Street here, I can't answer that.
I'm not a lawyer either, so
If this resolution passes, I would bring a resolution in to rescind the original jailer's fee. I think it would be outdated, and I think back at that time it was $10 a day. The best I can remember from the research I've done.
Any idea why that one hasn't been enforced, or was it enforced and just?
I don't think it was ever enforced,
Okay.
to my knowledge.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Stanley, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Herschel, you had made the comment, at our last meeting on this, that this was to pay for the jail, so it wouldn't be a burden on the taxpayers. We have already raised taxes to pay for this jail. So.
I can respond to
what is
that.
this?
The money that will be collected from this pay to stay, 90% of that money will go toward paying off the jail bond, which we were obligated to for $4 million a year. If this money is collected, whatever amount of money is collected, whether it's $1 million or $2 million, 90% of that money will go toward paying on the jail bond, which will free up other tax money for the county to spend on other departments and other areas of the county. 10% of the money collected, out of that 10%, 6% of that will go to the sheriff's department for raises for the employees that work inside the jail system. The other percent will go to the upkeep of the new jail, painting, whatever it needs to be kept in a new manner, and I think we owe that to the taxpayers.
So
That's
if
how
we
it's-
pay this off early, are we going to lower taxes?
I would hope so.
Okay, thank you.
I would think so. But
Thank you.
it will free up money for other departments, so we won't have to raise taxes again if we start collecting.
Commissioner Cole, you're recognized.
I would just like to, I agree with Commissioner Gardner, without it being a state statute, even if this does passes, the courts could decide whether they implement it or not, but I would just say they wouldn't implement it, even if it does pass it. So I just want to point that out. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Crosswhite, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm on board with this. We're talking about the inmates, what they're gonna have to pay. What about our citizens that they've had items stolen, they aren't getting any money back? We need to take care of our citizens out in the county and let the inmates work and pay for this. So I'm on board for it. So let's just think about the citizens of Sullivan County.
Commissioner Blaylock, you're recognized.
Well, this is my last night here, so I was gonna say that I had said I was gonna shut my mouth, okay? Not say a single thing, but here I am. Saying, number one, Herschel, I think it's a great idea, a wonderful idea, and no, I don't have a better way to come up with a better way, and that's what he told me to do, and I have not come up with a better way. So I don't know what to do, except right now, my constituents, who are the people who voted for me, have called me, and you know what the word they used for me? They said, if you're that stupid to vote for that, now they did say that, stupid, and I don't like to be called stupid, but they said, if you're that stupid to vote for it, then you get what you get. So I did ask these people that called. First question I said, do you have anyone in jail in your family? No. Do you have anyone in jail as a friend? No. But they still said, Judy, just don't vote for it. It's not right. This is your last vote. Say no and go on with it. Now, this is what people are telling me. They say, goodbye, nice knowing you, but don't vote for this.
Well, I respect your comment. Mr. Commissioner Miley, like I do. But the calls that I've got, 90% was positive. The other 10 that was negative, they had folks in jail. And I don't know about the other commissioners, but that's what I come up with. And I would say that nobody would ever think you're stupid. No way, either way you vote, Judy. That just ain't no way to talk to someone. But anyway, people need to be nice.
Thank you. Commissioner Locke, you're recognized.
You did get feedback from CTAS for the state that if we could lien property assets of these inmates, that is illegal for the county to do.
I've got the paperwork.
And that they are, thanks.
I believe the board is empty.
In closing, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say this. I think we owe an obligation to the people in this county that pays taxes. And I think this is one way that we can show them that we're willing to try some new things. Because all these years we've been sitting here, and it's easy to say that you're going to do something, but sometimes when you do it, it's a little bit difficult. But a lot of these people that are saying don't do it are probably folks that really don't pay a lot of taxes. And when this new jail opens, I know some commissioners wasn't here the night that the judges were here, but they told every one of us that it would be full before the paint dries. So when you add 550 inmates in the new jail, I'm asking for $35 per inmate per conviction per day. When you put these 550 inmates in there, this county, and we're the funding body, the new ones coming in or the ones that's here now, you're going to have to come up with about $12 or $13 million. Because you've got to provide water, you've got to provide food, you've got to provide medical care, and you've got to provide personnel to keep an eye on these people. So this is a way, if we get $1 million, what are we getting now? If we get $100,000, what are we getting now? We owe it to the taxpayers of the county to give it a chance. How do you know it's not going to work until we try it? But I think we owe it to them to at least try it for a year to see if it works. See what we collect, see what we do. Because I would rather do that than to come in here next budget cycle and say, okay, our next budget cycle, our new jail's done, so now we gotta come up with $13 million to put these people in there. We ain't got $13 million laying here. You know what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to do a bond, we're gonna have to borrow the money. Because you can't put them in there if you can't provide for them. So I appreciate the thoughts and the comments, but it was on here for 2 months, and there never was anything else brought forward. So I appreciate you voting, and I think the taxpayers of the county would appreciate you voting.
Mr. King, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. During this election cycle, a lot of taxpayers I talked to out here campaigning, I knocked on a lot of doors, and one of the first things that I heard was, why are you building that jail? Why are you spending all this money? You want to put them out here on the road doing all this stuff? And, I know that wouldn't work. But, what do you tell those people? Taxpayers that pay taxes, and if we're going to say no to this, then what are we going to tell our taxpayers out there that who has voted for us, sending us over here to do the right thing? And this may not be perfect, but I haven't heard any other solutions brought before us in how many years? I've been over here for, well, this will be my 4th term, and, I haven't heard anything else come up that, we need to do something to change. I don't think not doing anything is a choice. I know Dan Street has met with the judges, he's met with the district attorney, he's met with the sheriff, trying to figure out something to do to help get the population of our jail down. And that's what the whole thing is. If we do this, it's going to pay to get the population of the jail down and help pay what we're going to spend on this jail up here. So, I haven't heard anything else, and I said that night. I haven't heard, when the judges are here, I said, I haven't heard anything from you all. It's easy to sit here and do nothing, and just go on and say, well, taxpayers, you're gonna have to come up with another tax increase. So if that's what, saying no is, I think you're giving up on your taxpayers out there when it comes time to, raise taxes and all this stuff that, we have to do and have to vote on. So, and again, if somebody wants to come up with a better way to do this, I think our sponsor would be more than glad to listen. And, we might take bits and pieces. I know that there's something in Knoxville that is, they're doing because they had to do. Let's look at it. Try to look at something. Try to get something. But right now, this is the only thing and the best thing that we've got going right now is this right here. This is the only thing that's on the table. So, if you vote no, then think of your taxpayers who voted for you. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Hopper.
Oh, once again, I don't see any teeth in this. You're still asking the county courts to review it and discuss it. It doesn't say they have to do it. So how are you going to legislate this to create a situation where the courts follow this resolution or one similar to it that will actually mandate this concept, which is not a bad concept, but how are you going to make the courts do it? That's my question.
I don't really think, Commissioner Hopper, we could make the courts do it. It would be a recommendation from this commission body to do the collection of the fees. Even the fines and fees that they pay now, they don't collect all that. So, we're right back where we're at. So, it's neither there nor here.
Commissioner Crawford.
Herschel, on this, I know that biannually you're probably going to do a reassessment of the amount of money that's going to be attached to these inmates. What's going to be the procedure of coming together and looking at that per diem that you're charging? Is it going to be based on the amount that is collected during that first half of the year? If it falls short, are you going to raise it? If it's over, you're going to reduce it?
It will be done each budget cycle, and we set down, the money will be going into the general fund, and we'll be sitting down at budget time, and discussion will take place of how much money is in that particular line item in the general fund.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Cross.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm searching for a point of clarification, because when you were speaking with Commissioner Vance, you said something about if we voted for this in 2/3 majority, then we could enforce it, that you had heard from the state or something.
We could make the recommendation that it do be enforced.
We can make that recommendation,
Yes.
but, okay, but it's still, according to Mr. Hopper, because I agree with him, not much teeth here in that.
It would be just like us making a recommendation to the judges to raise the fines and fees. They would be taking that into consideration of the fines and fees that they charge.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Stanley, you're recognized.
Herschel, you were talking about the inmates that could not afford the $35 a day, that they could go out and do their community service to work that off like at minimum wage to pay towards their fines. Do you have a number of officers that it would take to go out here to guard these inmates while they're doing the community service?
Some of them's already working. We've got some inmates now that's working at, I think Robinette Company. They're taken that morning, they're dropped off, they work all day long, they're picked up that evening and brought back into the jail. The ankle monitors that we bought, that resolution that we did a year or so ago, I think Commissioner Gardner and Commissioner Locke, I think, were key partners in that. When I asked a month and a half or 2 months ago how many we had out on ankle monitors, I think we had 38. Those monitors could be placed on these inmates. They could be placed into businesses to work. And the thing about this is going to be a plus for the inmates. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. If they want to work, they're gonna be able, they should be able to work. We've got people in this county that's begging for workers right now. And when they do, they can pay the $35 a day, and then they would still have $85 a day that would be in an account for them when they get out. The fellow here earlier tonight was talking about rehabilitation. What better way to rehabilitate yourself than when you get out of jail, you've got some money in the bank, and you don't have to go back to stealing. You don't have to go back to dealing drugs. This is a way to make these inmates accountable and make them productive citizens before they get back out into the workforce.
Well, I noticed that, one of the the public defender was talking that 80% of the inmates are indigent.
Mhm.
They have to have a court-appointed, attorney. So.
But that still gives them the opportunity to do community service. That would still give them the opportunity to at least want to pay back to the citizens and the taxpayers of the county that they took from.
But
And I
those
think-
people that's been convicted with a felon are not allowed to go out here and
No,
do
no
community
ma'am,
service.
no ma'am, no ma'am. If you're convicted of a felony, you won't be able to get out on any detail. I think the sheriff's office made that very plain to us, and the judges do.
So how are they going to be able to pay if they can't afford to pay it to work it off?
Just like the amendment that I took from Commissioner Locke, when these folks get out of jail, if they have a car, if they have a truck, whatever they have in personal belongings, that lien will go toward those belongings for them to pay back to the county.
My
And I
concern
think that's more than fair.
is having to hire extra employees to go out here to guard the people if they're out here doing community service, picking up trash or whatever that they're doing.
We give the sheriff's department $833,000 for 10 deputies and 200 and some ankle monitors. If we're not using the 38 ankle monitors, it looks to me like we've got 10 available to guard these people. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
Mr. George, you're recognized.
Sorry, so you're saying that we should be able to let these inmates out with ankle bracelets just to go work community service? That they do not need to have anyone supervising? Or are you saying, I mean?
No, we've got inmates now that are going to work every single day. I don't know the total of them. I know at one time it was 4 or 6. I don't even think they're wearing the ankle monitors. I think they're being taken to Robnet Company. They're dropped off.
And nobody monitors them? I know when we had spoken at one point about trying to get some help picking up trash and things like that.
It's a work release program.
And
Yes.
they were saying that they had to have the number of people to supervise.
Mhm.
And so by the time you pay the sheriff, and then of course if this is gonna be paid by the county commission to pay them the money for minimum wage to pick up trash, it seems like we're paying ourselves. And we're paying for the sheriff.
That minimum wage will go toward the hours that they volunteer. If they're going out and work the hours, but they're gonna be paid a minimum wage per hour. So however many hours that they perform, that will go toward a credit for the amount that they owe.
But is that, if they're working for the county, picking up trash or doing things like that, the credits they're earning is our own money. So that's not outside revenue coming in. We're just paying ourselves and taking it back.
As hard times as we're getting to have employees in the county, I think we should work some of them and pay them with county money if we have to.
But then the rest, you're looking at trying to find, I mean, but it's, so, I guess my concern is if we've got companies that say, I'll take 1 employee, I'll take 2 employees, if we are allowed just to ship them off and not have no super, I mean, we're still gonna have to have transportation, there's still gonna be costs involved that are gonna have to be covered through this county, whether we collect or not. My other issue, when you're talking about putting liens, and in terms of a lien on a house or a lien on a vehicle, we can't force somebody to sell their house. So, I mean, and a lot of times when we do a demolition lien or certain types of lien, after so long, they fall off. So, I mean, if you put a lien on somebody's house that they, it's they own with the spouse, whatever, and, then they end up dying and 20 years the kids inherit it, I mean, it may, and you're not talking about getting that money in to pay back. I mean, and are these liens like that? I mean, for vehicles, I mean, if I had a lien on my car, I'd never bother to sell it. I mean, mean, by the time you sell it,
If you go to trade it,
I
you'd
mean,
have
even
to
if
take
you
care of
trade
it.
it, I mean, I think I'd use it till it died, and then, you know, I just don't know on recapturing it.
Okay.
And on Judy's point, you know, I will actually be voting against this because every call I have gotten, I'm not like you that have gotten majority. I have not gotten one person that has asked me to vote for this.
Did they give you any suggestions on how to correct it?
They gave me a lot of suggestions on different things to do in the county and how to save money and where they would do cuts and where they feel like we have wasted money or how we've misspent. I got a lot of information on a whole lot of things, and that they felt like we could come up with a whole lot of money, but I'm not, this is my last night. I will not be bringing all those resolutions, but I will be happy to tell you all their points on everything the county commission has done wrong in the years it's existed that has cost money. But none of them were talking about a pay-for-stay program at the jail. But I said the people, and I've had several emails, several people come in, and they have all asked me to vote against it. I didn't have anyone that said, and the people that I'm talking to actually pay taxes. So that's, I understand your point, but I have to represent the people that reached out to me. So I respect that.
Good enough.
Mr. Akers, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. I just going to speak a little bit to what Commissioner George was kind of asking some things, because I actually know quite a bit about it. And I hope to be able to expand the program. So yes, currently we have maybe, Michael may know, what, 6, 8 inmates that are working at one location of a manufacturer. They are ankle bracelet, and it's geo-fenced. So they can only go, the sheriff's department drops them off in the morning at a certain time, comes back at a certain time, picks them up. So their ankle bracelet is geo-fenced to that area. So that's one thing about trying to do it at other places. If they had like multiple it can only do for one area, you know. The inmates are paid $13.50 an hour. They worked with them to get them a bank account at a bank and everything, and so and they had 2 of them that did turn into full-time employees, and they had a couple that didn't work out. I mean, you know, it's not an exact science. It is work, but I think it is an opportunity to, and I've talked to the sheriff, and we'll work on that with other maybe manufacturers, because like this one said, they have 65 openings and they can't fill the jobs. So I mean, they are desperate, you know, and everything. And so it's and I said it again, I mean, it's been an interesting resolution for how many people that are against it, but yet I haven't come up with any other option. But this doesn't guarantee we're going to collect any money. This is still saying, hey, we got to find a plan to establish and do it. So, you know, we do represent people, and sometimes we have to tell our people that, you know, we've got to make a decision down here, and the Attorney General's office will tell you, and like the judges did, we have a lot of crime, believe it or not. I mean, we have a wonderful county. I mean, people are moving in here. You obviously know this. We've got a lot going on that Clay Walker was talking about earlier, and businesses moving in here. But we have a lot of residents in the jail, and you know, I'm sorry, but you know, you got to pay to play. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Akers. Mr. Glover renews his motion. Any final words?
That's gonna give an inmate $73 a day once he pays the $35, just like Commissioner Akers said. So I think it's more productive than anything we can do.
Mr. Glover renews his motion for passage of second and final reading, seconded by Commissioner King. Any further discussion? Seeing none, when the board opens, cast your vote. Has everyone voted? Does anyone wish to change your vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
10 yes, 14 no.
Having failed to receive the necessary majority, item number 2 is fails. Gentlemen, thank you for your debate on this. It's a good discussion. You've been here 2 hours and 2 minutes. And I know many of you worked today, so you deserve a break. We will reconvene here at 8:15 for item number 3.